Hello gems, welcome again. In this video, we will be learning introduction to crochet patterns. A crochet pattern is a set of instructions that guides crocheters through the process of creating a specific crochet project, either wearables or non-wearables. Wearables like blouses, sweaters, dresses, pants, and the likes. Non-wearables like blankets, table covers, amigurumis, home decors, and the likes. One thing to note is that crochet patterns contain abbreviations, and we will be looking into some of those abbreviations shortly. Patterns include important information like the materials that you need for the project, the gauge information such as the tension and the stitch count. It also includes the step-by-step instruction for each row or round. Of course, that is what you are going to follow to actually make the piece that you want to make. The abbreviations and the symbols that are used in that pattern, and also photos or diagrams to illustrate the finished project. So just to explain it a bit more, crochet patterns are written by crocheters when they want to put out the instructions that needs to be followed to make a particular piece. I can decide to create a beautiful blouse now, and if I so desire that other people will be able to recreate that same blouse, I can write out a crochet pattern for that blouse. I can make it either paid or free, so people can have access to the pattern and be able to recreate that particular blouse that I made. So a crochet pattern is a written guide or step-by-step instruction which a crocheter writes so that others can follow that instruction to be able to recreate that particular piece. You should also note that crochet patterns can either be hard copy or soft copy. Here are some abbreviations used in crochet patterns. They are standard abbreviations, and normally for any abbreviation used in a crochet pattern, the pattern creator will put the full meaning of that abbreviation in the pattern for clarity purpose. So you can go ahead and pause this video to go through each of the abbreviations and get familiar with them. These are some tips to note when working with crochet patterns. The first one is to read the pattern carefully from start to finish. That way you will know if there are any areas where you do not understand and you need to clarify before starting the project, so you don't keep making mistakes along the way and keep frogging your projects. The second one is to check your gauge. The reason why you need to do this is because the yarn the pattern creator used might be different from the yarn that you are using. If you do not check your gauge and match it with the one that is in the pattern, it can affect the fit or the size of your piece. So it is important that you make sure that your tension and stitch count matches the one that is in the pattern. The third one is to use the correct hook and yarn as recommended by the pattern. It is okay to tweak one or two things as you desire, but if you are looking to achieve very similar results like what is in the pattern, it is best that you follow the hook and yarn that is recommended. The fourth one is to swatch before starting. Earlier, I talked about matching your tension and stitch count with the one in the pattern. The best way to do that is to make a swatch before you start. That way, you can measure your swatch and compare the measurements with what is written in the pattern, and you would know if you need to change your yarn or to change your hook so that you can get a similar measurement. The next one is to use stitch markers. I cannot overemphasize the use of stitch markers, especially if you are a beginner. You need to mark your stitches so that you can have straight edges, you can know when to increase or decrease, and you can avoid confusion or unnecessary mistakes whereby you have to keep loosening or frogging your piece over and over again. The next tip is to count your stitches regularly. This will help you to quickly recognize when there is a mistake and help you to correct it as soon as possible, instead of just crocheting all the way and when you're almost done you realize that you've made a mistake in the beginning part of the piece. It can be really frustrating, so it's best to count your stitches as you go. Lastly, don't be afraid to ask for help. You can always reach out to the person who wrote the pattern and ask for any clarification if you find any information or any instruction confusing. If it is a pattern you just found randomly and you're not sure of the person who created the pattern, You can always ask another crocheter for help, or you can ask questions in any crochet community that you belong in, and people would answer you to the best of their knowledge. You can also make research online to know more about what that instruction is saying. So here is an example of a crochet pattern. The stitch is V-stitch and it is just a simple pattern that will help you make a swatch. I encourage you to try this pattern out and send pictures to the group. I would love to see what you make from this pattern. See you in the next video.